How are you all doing? I've been promising a review of the Galileoscope for quite a while now, so let's get into it today. This is it. Let's talk about it. This video is not sponsored by Explore Scientific or any organization listed on the product packaging. In front of me is a completed Galileoscope kit, assembled from the parts provided. Building it is actually easy. No tools are required. This is an easy kit to assemble, but there is a caution that I want to state here. The instruction manual that I received for this was not in order. The steps are out of order, so be very familiar with this manual before starting. A kit you may buy may have this issue taken care of, but mine, I had to read everything first before I began. Included in this kit is this parts list, an illustrated parts list. Take a look at this. Take a look at all the parts in your box. Inventory it and make sure you have everything before you start. This way, assembly will be straightforward and fun. Now, when you're done, what you're going to have is this telescope. It has a 2-inch objective lens, so that's 50 millimeters. The telescope itself has a focal length of 500 millimeters. That's 500 millimeter focal length from the objective lens to the focal plane where the eyepiece is at. You also get to assemble the eyepiece itself, which is installed over here. This is a 25 millimeter eyepiece. You have a focal ratio of f10 when all this is done. That's actually handy for a telescope, a refractor of this type. It helps to minimize chromatic aberration. In the kit is included a Barlow lens. It doubles the focal length of your eyepiece. Now, as an alternative, you can turn this into a Galilean eyepiece, which I did at the beginning of this project. Using the Galilean eyepiece will give you a feel for what Galileo was dealing with when he was using his telescope to make his observations. As a caution, it's low power, but it's a very narrow field of view. Okay, so we have the objective lens here. This is the objective lens. I'm putting on some cotton gloves because I want to handle this, but not dirty the lens elements. Okay, we open this up. And here we are, the objective lens of the Galileoscope. Notice there's a thin side and a thick side. The thin side, thick side, and that seam. This is a cemented doublet. To assemble a scope properly, this thin lens of the pair must point outward. So the front of the telescope is the direction my finger's pointing. This is the front surface, and that's how this must be assembled. If you assemble it backwards, it won't work. This is a crown and flint glass lens doublet. I do not know which is the crown glass element and which is the flint glass element. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried that I assemble it correctly. So the reason they use these two different types of glass is that it does a better job of focusing the light beam, all the spectral components of it, at the eyepiece, at the focal plane. There's a little bit of blue fringing that you get, but this telescope, it probably won't be too bad. because it has a focal length of 500 millimeters. So the focal ratio is f10. That's a good thing. So anyway, this is the heart of the telescope, the Galileoscope. This is the heart of any telescope you're going to buy, the objective lens. Okay, so viewing with the included kit Plasel eyepiece is all right. However, the lenses are not anti-reflection coating, so the views I got looking at the moon were somewhat low contrast. There was some amount of reflection inside the actual eyepiece barrel, so it was all right. I used it on Jupiter. It was all right. It's functional. However, and here's the however part, when I removed the kit eyepiece that I built and I put in this generic 25 millimeter Kellner lens, the telescope came alive. This has glass elements. It's not multi-coated, but it is fully coated, so all the optical surfaces are anti-reflection coating. That helped this telescope a lot. The views became really good. I liked viewing through it. I also used this 32 millimeter Plasel lens, and we're going to talk about these. This actually became my favorite, the 32 millimeter. Now the lens elements up in the front in the objective, my research indicates that this is a crown and flint glass element assembly, which is standard for good refracting telescopes that are achromats. This telescope has in common with it what the large refractors, professional refractors, have. The Yerkes Observatory in Wisconsin, the Lick Observatory in California, these are huge refractors. They use crown and flint glass elements, so this has something in common with these professional instruments. Now, one thing that I want to say is adding the Barlow lens to the standard kit lens that you build, it works, but I wasn't impressed with the results of this. Part of the problem isn't that the Barlow is bad, it's just that once you double the magnification of this assembly and you're using it on a standard photo tripod, you're kind of chasing the moon or a planet across the sky. You're not really having much time to let the telescope settle on its tripod so that you can really look at something. You're just always fiddling with it. So I kind of, my impression, I thought, my own view is that the telescope is overpowered working this way. Now, when I used the Galilean lens, before I converted it into the Barlow, the Galilean lens, the magnification's only 17 power. The problem with it is the problem with all Galilean lenses. The angle of view is very narrow, so you get this impression you're looking through a soda straw. When I was trying to look at the moon with this, and then I tried looking at Jupiter with it, yeah, I could see my targets, but it gave me an appreciation for the hardship Galileo had working with his equipment at the time, making the discoveries that he did in the early 1600s. He had to work to do this. So it gave me an appreciation for really his genius and his tenacity to do the things he did. So for testing purposes, I used a generic 25 millimeter Kellner eyepiece and a generic 32 millimeter Plasel eyepiece. So how do you sight with the Galileoscope? It's not hard, it just takes a little practice. Mounted in the plastic is a little pyramid here, and over here you have a notch. And basically you line up, with your eye back here of course, you line up the tip of this pyramid through this notch. You're sighting along the telescope. And if you use a low power eyepiece, I was using in my testing a lot a 32 millimeter eyepiece, which is a wider angle eyepiece than the one they even give you. But even with the one they give you, if you're careful with your sighting along here, you'll have the object you're looking at, a planet or a moon, it'll be in your view at the objective lens. So basically you're sighting along the telescope like this. And once you get the V in the notch, you're going to have your target within the field. So here's the Galileoscope to present the taping that I've done along the seams. Let's get this camera focused on something. Here we go. We got focus. Take a look along the edge here. You see electrical tape, more electrical tape here, along here, along here, and a little bit more back here to strengthen everything. Up on the top, there's the Galileoscope insignia, but on top, a piece of tape, more tape, and again, back here, some more tape. All of this is to help stabilize this joint, keep it tight, and just give some extra stability, because really all that's holding it together is the dew shield up front. This forms a ring that clamps it. These two O-rings, an O-ring here, an O-ring here, and then this rear clamp ring. So this is what holds it together. So I wanted some more stability around the joint, so I added electrical tape. The plastic is very thin that holds the nut in place, and this is your threads that attaches to the tripod. So you don't want to crank your tripod screw down tight onto this, because if you crack this plastic, it's going to be really hard to deal with it. You can fix it with epoxy probably, but you'd have a compromised joint. So this is something you do not crank down with the tripod nut on this. Keep it just snug enough so that the telescope won't shift or move, and that's all. But anyway, yep, here's the sun warning sticker. I'll bring it around here. The instructions are is to place this on the telescope somewhere, and that's just for sun safety. So anyway, this is a close-up of how I stabilize the joints a little extra on the Galileoscope. Okay, so what do I think about this kit? Well, I wrote down some ideas and some thoughts, and I'm going to read them from a sheet of paper just so I make sure I get it right, because I want to really express how I feel about this, and I don't want to fumble in front of a camera. So I got it all, my notes are like right here. Anyway, I like the telescope very much. This is a lot of fun to use. It's a great learning instrument for anyone who wants to know how a telescope works, get their hands on building something, a project. This is really good. I liked handling the individual parts. I like putting it all together. It's just an educational process. The plastic used appears to be pretty high quality. I mean, it's not really overly thin or cheap. It's a quality kit. Now pair this telescope with aftermarket eyepieces, and you're going to be rewarded of good views of the moon and other objects in the sky. My views of Jupiter with this at low power were very good. The Galilean moons were nice sharp pinpoints with this. Using aftermarket eyepieces, particularly that 32 millimeter Plossl, I had a real good view of the Orion Nebula with this. Now with a small scope like this, you're not going to be able to make out the structure of the Orion Nebula, but you can definitely see it's there if you use averted vision and you look at some of the nearby stars and kind of just, observe the nebula out of the corner of your eye through the eyepiece. You can distinctly see it with this telescope. The Pleiades star cluster looks very nice in this scope. I really enjoyed looking at the Pleiades with this. Now, in my opinion, the best eyepiece to use this with was the 32 millimeter Plossl. Well, why the low power eyepiece? Well, think about it. This telescope is going to wind up getting mounted on a photo tripod or a video tripod, something that's not optimized for a telescope, because that's just generally what's going to happen with this. Well, you want a wide field of view so you can place the object you're viewing in the corner of the field of view, and then let your object, like say Jupiter, just drift across the field of view. And then as it reaches the opposite end, you adjust the telescope accordingly, let the vibration settle down, and then just watch the planet slowly drift across the view. This way, you get observing time. And I really enjoyed doing that. When I used this telescope with higher power, I was always fiddling with it and I wasn't too happy with it. Well, the views are typical that you're going to get from a small achromatic refractor. There's a little bit of chromatic aberration, but it's really well controlled. It's not bad. So this telescope is sold by Explore Scientific. At its regular price, I think it's a really good deal for what you're getting out of it. However, if you can catch it on a sale, do so, because at that point this is a fantastic bargain. Because you're not just having a telescope that you can use as a telescope, you're getting an instrument that you can build and learn off of right from the building process. They give you these little supports for displaying your scope, and yeah, that actually works out pretty good. Put this on a shelf. When you invite people over, they're going to ask, "Hey, what's that?" And you get to explain it to them. I've done it. So anyway, when the scope is finished, you're not going to use this as a main telescope, but I guarantee every so often, this is enough fun, you're going to take it out and use it anyway, at least on occasion. So it's something that it's not used once and throw it away. You'll come back and revisit this little instrument time and time again. So yes, I would say buy one. It's a good experience. It's a learning experience right from when you open the box. So as usual, I'm going to conclude this video the same way I conclude all my videos. If the sky is clear tonight, go out and take a look at the night sky. Use your eyes, use your binoculars, use a telescope. But don't lose the opportunity to just drink in the sky at night and all it has to offer. So anyway, that's going to be it. Bye now.